Imagine the Devil's Bible or Codex Gigas as one of the most mysterious and terrifying books in history. Standing nearly 3 feet tall and weighing over 165 pounds, it stands out as something completely different from anything else that existed in its time. But its size isn't what makes it so feared. Inside its pages lies a chilling mix of holy scriptures, dark rituals, demonic names, and a full-page portrait of the devil himself. Some claim they wrote it in a single night. Others claim it holds a curse, and throughout the centuries, those who have come too close to its secrets have faced misfortune, madness, or worse. Legend surrounds the origins of the Codex Gigas. According to the story, a monk in a medieval monastery committed a crime so terrible that he was sentenced to be walled up alive. Desperate to avoid this fate, he made an offer. He would create a book that contained all human knowledge, blending religion, science, and magic into one ultimate manuscript. But there was one condition. He had to complete it in a single night. As the hours passed and the sheer scale of his task became clear, the monk realized he could never finish in time. In his despair, he whispered a plea, not to God, but to the devil. What happened next remains one of the greatest mysteries of history. By morning, they had completed the book. Its script was flawless, its pages unblemished, and its structure eerily uniform. Experts have long debated how a single person could have written something so vast without showing signs of exhaustion or inconsistency. Some believe the monk had supernatural help. Others think the book itself was the price he paid for his soul. One of the most disturbing elements of the Codex Gigas is the full-page illustration of the devil. Unlike other medieval depictions of demons, which were often exaggerated or symbolic, this image feels unsettlingly real. The devil draws with an unnatural intensity, his wide, staring eyes seemingly following those who dare to look too long. Some scholars suggest the image serves as a form of invitation, a visual pact for anyone who studies the book. Others hold the belief that the monk intentionally imprisons something dark within its pages as a protective measure to keep his deal contained. Those who have examined the illustration have reported experiencing feelings of dread, nausea, and a sense of being under observation. Beyond its ominous artwork, the Codex Gigas contains a strange mixture of sacred and forbidden knowledge. It includes the Bible, exorcism rituals, demonology, and texts on healing and astrology. This combination raises unsettling questions. Was the monk trying to create a tool to protect humanity from dark forces, or was he attempting to harness them for his own power? The book's sections on demonology are particularly troubling, detailing names and summoning techniques lost to history. Some researchers believe these passages influenced later grimoires, manuals of dark magic used by occultists for centuries. Adding to the mystery, several pages of the book are missing. Torn out by unknown hands, these pages are believed to have contained the most dangerous secrets of all. Some say they held a spell too powerful to exist, one capable of opening a gateway to something beyond human comprehension. Others claim the missing pages contained prophecies of destruction, events so catastrophic that those who read them chose to erase them from history. Yet imprints remain where the missing pages once were, and modern imaging technology has revealed traces of strange symbols and text. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. The book's reputation for misfortune extends far beyond its creation. Throughout history, those who have possessed it have experienced unexplainable tragedies. Libraries have seen fires sweep through their storage, yet the book itself has remained untouched. During wartime, soldiers who looted it reported feeling an unnatural weight in their arms, as if the book refused to move. Even modern scholars who have spent time with the Codex Gigas have spoken of disturbing dreams, whispers in the dark, and a growing sense of unease that lingers long after they have turned the last page. Perhaps the most disturbing theory is that he is not just a book, but a living entity in some way. Some claim that reading it too deeply pulls people into an obsession they cannot escape. Others believe that the book watches those who study it, as if waiting for the right person to unlock whatever secrets lie within. For centuries, civilizations have sought to define morality, separating what is pure from what is corrupt. In religious traditions, forces of good are often represented by celestial beings, angels, deities, or enlightened spirits, guiding humanity toward righteousness. On the other hand, religious traditions depict evil as temptation, chaos, or malevolent entities that aim to corrupt the soul. He is unique because it does not choose a side. Instead, it presents both forces in a way that suggests a truth. Good and evil are not as separate as we think. Unlike most medieval manuscripts, which focus solely on religious teachings, the book includes writings that seem to contradict one another. On one hand, it contains the complete Bible, offering guidance, laws, and moral teachings. But alongside these sacred texts, it also includes detailed descriptions of exorcisms, references to demonic entities, and rituals that delve into the occult. One theory suggests that the monk was trying to create a book of ultimate power, a manuscript that did not simply praise the divine, but also acknowledged the presence of darkness in the world. In this way, the Codex acts as a mirror to reality, showing that faith and fear, light and shadow, are forever intertwined. Another possibility is that the book was meant to serve as a weapon against darkness, a manual for identifying and combating evil. The medieval world was deeply superstitious, believing that demons walked among men, whispering lies and leading the weak astray. They might have created him as a tool to guard against unseen threats by incorporating demonology and spells of protection. The legend of the monk who wrote the Codex Gigas suggests that he made a desperate pact to complete the book in one night, seeking the aid of a demonic force. Some believe that his inclusion of forbidden knowledge hints at an obsession with unlocking the mysteries of the supernatural. Perhaps he sought to gain control over dark forces rather than simply document them. Others suggest that the monk was a scholar who believed that knowledge, even knowledge of evil, was necessary to truly understand the world. There are parallels to this idea throughout history. In various traditions, wise men, priests, and philosophers have studied dark subjects not to practice them, but to resist them. Some exorcists believe that knowing the names of demons gives them power over them. Likewise, some occult texts claim that understanding darkness is the only way to defeat it. But there is always a risk in exploring the unknown. Throughout history, those who have looked too deeply into the abyss often find it staring back at them. One of the most chilling aspects of the Codex Gigas is its full-page portrait of the devil. Some theories suggest that the portrait is a sigil, a magical mark that acts as a connection between the reader and the dark forces described in the book. Others believe that it serves as a visual representation of the monk's pact, an eternal reminder of the price he paid to complete the manuscript. It suggests that darkness is not something that exists only in myths or nightmares. It is real, and it is something humanity has tried to understand for centuries. Our own lives mirror this struggle. Every person has the capacity for both light and shadow, for kindness and cruelty. Just as the Codex Gigas contains both prayers and curses, so too do people carry within them the potential for both salvation and destruction. The question the book forces us to ask is not just whether evil exists, it is whether knowledge of darkness is dangerous or whether ignoring it is even worse. Humans naturally fear things they do not understand. Fear sharpens the senses, makes the heart race, and prepares the body for survival. But the most terrifying thing is not a visible threat. It is the knowledge that something may be there, just beyond our perception, watching. The book plays on this fear. It is not just its content that unsettles people, it is the feeling it creates. Those who have examined the book closely report an overwhelming sense of unease, as if they are not alone in the room. Some say the air around it feels heavier. Others claim to have heard whispers with no clear source. Ancient cultures believed that certain objects could absorb energy, that a book filled with powerful knowledge could retain a presence of its own. If the Codex was truly written under supernatural circumstances, if it contains knowledge not meant for human eyes, then it would not be just a manuscript. It would be a relic, a vessel for something beyond comprehension. And perhaps that is why it has remained intact for so long. Another major concern about the Codex is what has been deliberately erased. The manuscript has seen several pages torn away, their contents forever lost, or at least hidden. No one knows exactly what they contained, but scholars believe they held something that someone, at some point in history, feared too much to leave intact. The Codex Gigas is not an ordinary artifact. It does not sit quietly in a museum fading into history. It lingers, it demands attention, and those who give in to their curiosity often find themselves consumed by it. Some believe that certain texts are not meant to be read, that knowledge itself can be a curse. The more we seek to uncover hidden truths, the more we risk encountering something we are not prepared to face. One of the most remarkable discoveries about the Codex Gigas is its uniform handwriting. Throughout its more than 600 pages, the script remains incredibly consistent, with no visible signs of fatigue, mood changes, or aging that are typically found in works written by hand over many years. Medieval scribes often showed variations in their handwriting due to changes in quill pressure, ink saturation, or physical strain over time. However, it seems as though the scribe wrote it in a single, uninterrupted effort. This has led some researchers to theorize that the scribe must have adhered to an exceptionally disciplined routine, maintaining an almost mechanical precision. Others suggest the possibility of an unknown technique or an extreme level of dedication that allowed the writer to maintain this consistency over decades. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. If the monk who wrote the book truly completed it alone, he must have lived a life of isolation, committed entirely to this one monumental task. The effort required would have been immense, requiring not only deep knowledge of Latin and religious texts, but also extraordinary physical endurance. For a long time, the legend suggested that the devil helped create the Codex Gigas in a single night. However, experts believe that producing such a vast manuscript would have taken at least 20 to 30 years of continuous work. To estimate the time needed, researchers analyzed the number of characters per page and the typical speed at which medieval scribes copied text. Writing with a quill on parchment is a slow process, requiring careful spacing and corrections. Given the sheer size of the book, it is unlikely that a single person could have completed more than a few pages per week. If the monk dedicated himself fully to the manuscript, working for hours every day, he might have completed the text in 2 or 3 decades. This suggests that the Codex Gigas was a lifelong project, possibly started in the writer's youth and finished in old age. The Codex is not only a massive intellectual achievement, but also an extraordinary physical object. The book stands 3 feet tall, is over half a meter wide, and weighs approximately 165 pounds. Its pages are made from calfskin, a material commonly used in medieval manuscripts due to its durability. Researchers estimate that the Codex Gigas required the skins of around 160 calves to complete. This alone would have made the book extremely expensive to produce. In medieval times, parchment was a luxury, and obtaining enough high-quality materials for a book of this size would have required significant resources. This extraordinary resilience has led to eerie speculation. Some people hold the belief that the book possesses a supernatural protection that prevents its destruction. Whether through luck or design, the Codex Gigas has defied time, remaining one of the best preserved medieval manuscripts in existence. The book holds many mysteries, but one of its most unsettling features is the full-page illustration of the devil. Unlike anything else found in medieval manuscripts, this eerie depiction has fascinated and disturbed scholars for centuries. While most religious texts of the time included small representations of demons or evil spirits, they were rarely given such a prominent place. Yet here, in the Codex Gigas, the devil takes up an entire page, his presence overwhelming, impossible to ignore. The image itself is striking. The image depicts the devil crouching, his body contorted. His skin is a sickly greenish-grey, contrasting sharply against the dark background. His eyes burn red, staring straight ahead as if watching whoever dares to look at him. Thick, curved horns rise from his head, emphasizing his monstrous nature. His hands are clawed, stretched wide as though ready to seize his next victim. His legs end in taloned feet, resembling those of a predatory bird. The overall effect is unsettling. This creature defies reason. This is something ancient, something waiting. Adding to the mystery is the fact that the page opposite the devil's illustration depicts something entirely different, the celestial city. This beautiful, structured vision of heaven stands in direct contrast to the chaotic, demonic presence on the opposite page. The positioning of these two images side by side seems intentional, as if to emphasize the eternal struggle between good and evil. The viewer is forced to confront both extremes, salvation on one side, damnation on the other. One of the most chilling aspects of the devil's illustration is how isolated it appears. Unlike the detailed, carefully filled pages of the rest of the manuscript, vast, empty space surrounds the image. This emptiness draws the eye directly to the devil, making it impossible to look away. It almost feels as if the figure is waiting, lurking in the darkness, eager for attention. Some believe that this image was not just a depiction, but something more, a symbol of power meant to trap or summon dark forces. The size of the illustration, the careful shading, and the eerie gaze all suggest that the artist was deeply focused on capturing something beyond a simple representation of evil. Many have speculated that this could have been part of a hidden ritual, a way to imbue the book with something supernatural. The unique portrayal of the devil remains a mystery. Medieval art typically depicted demons as grotesque, often comically exaggerated beings. They were meant to be feared, but also mocked, showing that they had no real power over the faithful. The devil in the Codex Gigas, however, is different. Theories about this image range from historical to supernatural. Some scholars believe that the artist may have been influenced by earlier depictions of pagan deities, blending old myths with Christian iconography. Others suggest that the monk who created the Codex was drawing from a vision, a nightmare, or even something he had truly seen. Legends surrounding the book claim that it was written in a single night with the help of the devil himself. The book is more than a medieval manuscript. It is a relic that defies explanation, a book that has outlasted wars, disasters, and the passage of time, carrying with it an aura of mystery that has only deepened over the centuries. It holds within its pages a strange contradiction, a mixture of sacred and profane knowledge, divine scriptures intertwined with occult rituals and demonic imagery. Not just a book, it is a symbol of something greater that has unsettled those who have studied it too closely. The sheer scale of the book is an anomaly. It is an impossibly large book for one person to have written alone, yet historical accounts claim it was created by a single monk in an unthinkably short time. The pages are written with precision, showing none of the variations or imperfections typical of medieval scribes. The handwriting remains perfectly uniform, without the signs of fatigue or hesitation that one would expect in a manuscript of this magnitude. Scholars have examined it, searching for an explanation, but none have been able to find a convincing reason for how such a feat could have been achieved. The consistency of the text suggests something beyond human endurance, something unnatural in its execution. Within the book lies one of its most striking features, a massive full-page illustration of the devil. It is unlike anything else found in medieval manuscripts, where depictions of demonic figures were typically small, hidden in the margins, or overshadowed by religious imagery. Here the devil dominates the page, a grotesque and imposing figure with curved horns, sharp claws, and a twisted expression. His eyes glow red against the muted tones of the parchment, his body hunched as though ready to pounce. An unusual amount of empty space surrounds him in the center of the page, forcing the viewer's gaze to meet his. Opposite this unsettling image is the depiction of the celestial city, a bright and structured vision of heaven, standing in direct contrast to the chaotic presence of the devil. The placement of these two images, side by side, is deliberate, emphasizing the eternal struggle between good and evil. The book's creator, whether out of devotion or fear, ensured that the reader would be confronted with this contrast, as though forcing them to acknowledge both salvation and damnation within the same breath. There is something about the Codex that lingers in the minds of those who study it. Many who have spent extended time analyzing its text and illustrations have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of unease. Some have described an unnatural silence that settles over them as they turn its pages, as if the air itself has grown heavier. Others have recounted the feeling of constant observation, a presence that lingers with them even after they leave. There are accounts of researchers who have abandoned their studies entirely, refusing to speak of what they had seen or experienced, as though the book itself had gotten into their minds. If you are enjoying this story, click on Super Thanks. You will be helping to keep this journey alive. Dreams plague those who dare to engage with the Codex for too long. They begin subtly, with images of unreadable symbols, flickering shadows, and whispers that seem to form words just beyond comprehension. With time, they become more vivid, taking on the nature of waking nightmares. Those who have encountered them describe towering figures standing at the edges of their vision, their faces obscured, their presence unrelenting. Others have spoken of strange landscapes, burning skies filled with signs they could not interpret. The more they attempt to ignore these visions, the more persistent they become, seeping into waking life, appearing in reflections, lurking in the corners of rooms where no one should be. Time itself seems to bend around the book. Some researchers have reported losing hours while studying it, believing only minutes had passed. Others have experienced the opposite, entire nights spent in its presence, feeling as though they had disappeared in the blink of an eye. The deeper one goes into its pages, the harder it becomes to step away, as if the book exerts a pull, demanding more and more attention until it consumes the mind entirely. Throughout history, those who tried to destroy it failed. It has survived fires that reduced surrounding structures to ash, yet its pages remained untouched. People have stolen it during wars, lost it for years, and then inexplicably resurfaced as if it refused to remain hidden. Those who have attempted to distance themselves from it often find that it lingers in their thoughts, pulling them back, whispering its secrets just beyond the edge of understanding. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.